All right, folks, we are back here on WCNC Plus. As the conditions are getting a little bit more slick and we head more into the mid-afternoon and then evening hours, things could get a little bit worse for us. Brittany Van Voorhees is watching an issue on US 74. Brittany.
Colin, this is on the 74 bypass. This is Independence Boulevard if you're heading eastbound. Yes, I have taken this, James, our producer, many a times heading to the beaches of North Carolina, but think it's in that same place, pretty much heading on the, again, Independence Boulevard on the expressway toward the Wingate area. So again, it's not too far away from Charlotte, but what we essentially just completely from observing, it does look like at some point the semi must have kind of geared off toward the left. That's the right word I'm looking for. And looks like it must have had some kind of impact, whether it slid or actually hit the barrier here and then slid and then hit the barrier on the other side. Now there's a lot of, road grime. You can actually see that too on some of these emergency vehicles that just arrived. You can see the back of this truck is really black. So I want to assume that some of this blackness that you kind of see on the bottom side of this truck could be from just the road grime. But if you look at the back, it looks like it's pretty much black from top to bottom. So I would guess that maybe is a little bit of grime, maybe mixed with a little bit of smoke. Obviously, again, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully everybody's okay, but this literally just happened. So we're just learning about this. It looks like another emergency vehicle coming over to help right now. So I would definitely avoid 74 Independence Boulevard, the bypass right now there near Wingate if you're heading toward the beaches, as that does look to be a bit of a mess. Previously, Becca and I were taking some questions from you. She now taking a well-deserved break, being able to get off and head home and be back tomorrow. But one of the really good questions that we had earlier when we were talking about the storm, I had somebody ask what should they do if they have no way of covering their car and they're worried about not having a scraper in order to just scrape their windshield, right, and then wipe off any snow, sleet, ice before driving. But what happens if they have the scraper and they're able to get that off their windshield, but their door handle is frozen? And I was literally in this same predicament last night. You can do this a multitude of different ways. The way that I did this is similar to how you oftentimes will see someone lay down like a blanket or a towel across their windshield wipers or against their actual window to prevent the ice from falling in the first place. I'm trying to think if I'll use this random laptop that's right here. So if you think of this laptop as my driver's window, I essentially laid the blanket or the towel from the top to the bottom. So it was covering my driver's side window as well as was essentially sticking on top, and then could also cover the driver's side handle. That way that I knew that even if I still had to take extra time to scrape the windshield, I could at least get my driver's side door open and be able to turn on like the defroster and everything, which obviously I have a scraper because I do this job and I live in North Carolina. I've had to use it a couple of times, 2022 and 2025, but also that just kind of gives you, essentially what it's doing is it's just trapping a little bit of warmth and not allowing for it to get as cold in that spot. So it's not like sticking in general. And then on top of that, obviously now you don't have any ice to worry about. So that made what could have been 40 minutes maybe of trying to scrape my windshield, since it had a layer of ice and then snow and sleet on top of it, into maybe about 20 to 25 minutes. So it definitely cut down some time. Some other questions that we're getting is like, how do we know exactly when we're out of the woods with this storm? Well, the worst of it that we're expecting, that kind of final push through the Charlotte metro area, is tonight between 4 to 8. So that would be the first threshold that I think we could see some of those more widespread power outages because of gusty winds and more ice already falling on top of what has already fallen with the last 24 hours. But you have to remember, on the backside, we are also going to be tracking really gusty winds heading into Monday afternoon. Some of the gusts that we were looking at yesterday, 25 to 30 miles an hour, which could increase the risk for power outages or prolong them. Because if you already have a power outage that has ice on it and it's already starting to see galloping from more ice accumulation, and then now you have the wind, that can create issues there. Also think ice on branches, they're easily snappable if you add wind on top of that. And then anything that does try to melt Monday, we're likely going to see a refreeze Monday night and into Tuesday, as temperatures are expected in some places to be in the single digits. So this is no joke. If I was a decision maker, I'm not, just to be clear, but if I was a decision maker for whether or not people go to school or people go to work or have remote learning, or remote work, I would not do Monday or Tuesday. And again, that's just my personal opinion based on the meteorology, just because the fact that we're going to see such cold temperatures, on top of all the other mess that we have. But things do look to improve a little bit by the end of the week, even though I do think, Colin, that the refreeze potential could be impactful every single night. I just think the worst 2 nights are obviously going to be tonight because it's right after the storm, and then Monday night and into Tuesday morning.